Hey guys, oh, here I am. Okay, I couldn't see myself, so I had no clue if this was working. So we're gonna try something. So, hey everybody, if I have not formally met you, my name is Debbie Wagner and I'm a sales director out of Ohio. And I am going to be your speaker today. So I am super excited to share with you. I'm kind of a newer director to the Mattis area, the Future Brianna area, having just joined up with them this past fall. Excuse me, I've been a director since 2011, but have always been in the Go Give area. And so we are super thrilled to be involved in your area. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in because it is the final day of the month before June. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? Okay, I hope you guys are super excited. I'm going to try to go through stuff kind of fast, and then that way if there's questions at the end, we can go ahead and get those answered. So welcome to your final push. You guys, this is it. This is time to get incredibly intentional for the rest of today, obviously, and for the next month. So earlier this year, you committed to your goals, and now it's time to walk the talk and be a woman of your word and finish your goals. So that's what I get to talk to you about today. But real quick, I want to ask you, have you ever stopped to think, why is it so easy to make goals and so hard keep them? Have you ever thought about that? It's like not hard to make a goal at all, but it's incredibly hard to keep them. And a lot of times it's difficult because we have to change our behaviors. So if we don't change our daily routine, we just stay on autopilot and we have great intentions, but we always go back to the familiar. And that's why we sometimes struggle to reach our goals. So here's the thing, you guys, this is something I've learned. Time is priceless. Money can't buy time, and once you spend that time, you can never get it back. And you know that we have a wide variety of career, family, and social demands competing for your time and attention. So I'm not going to talk about like describing that because you already know what it's like to have somebody else try to take control of your time. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to jump into a framework called designing your time. D-signing your time. And so this is something that I've been able to do to take control of my own time. When I started my business, I taught special ed full time. I just graduated with my master's degree. My husband and I had 2 boys, and I served on several positions in my church. My husband is a full-time coach and landscaper as well. So I get the idea of time and being pulled in so many directions. But when I moved into DIQ and into directorship, I was still teaching full-time. I even spent my first year or 2 as a director still teaching full-time. So I get it. And by that time, we had a daughter. So we had 3 kids. So I get it. But I want to teach you tips about taking control of your time so that you can be intentional to like make these last few hours of today and this last month count big time for you. You don't want to look back at June 30th and say, you know what? I wish that on May 31st, I would have like been more intentional. You want to look back and say, you know what? On May 31st, that was a life-changing day for me because I took control of my time and I quit letting other people do it. So here's your step 1. And a lot of this you know, but you guys, I'm going to tell you to stick to it. Like we teach you this for a reason. So determine your priorities. For the next 30 days, what absolutely has to be done and what doesn't have to be done. Find that 6 most important things list every single day. If you don't have it in your phone, if you don't have an alarm in your phone going off every evening to tell you to do that 6 most important things list, do that. That's to-do task number 1 as soon as you get off this call today is set an alarm to do your 6 most important things list every day. That one little tiny habit can create a daily discipline that'll change your business. I recently made a post about that. I do that. I write my 6 most important things list before I go to bed, before I shut up my office. I lay my clothes out for the gym the next morning. And that way in my head, I'm ready to go. And I posted something about it. And the next day at the gym, A local fire chief stopped me and he's like, you don't seriously do that, do you? I'm like, of course I do. What do you expect? I'm a woman of my word and I do what I expect other people to do. And he's like, well, that just sucks. Now I need to do the same thing, because he gets it. As a leader, we have to lead by example. So there's your first step. Step 2, accept the fact that no matter how smart you are, you can't squeeze more than 24 hours into your day. No matter how much you try to multitask, you are only capable of doing so much, unless of course you get on a plane and like fly backwards from New York to California. That's the only time you can cram more than 24 hours in your day. All right. So you have to decide what choices and trade-offs you are going to spend your energy and attention on. And if it's too thin, then nobody is getting your best you. People are just getting your leftovers, and that's all. And that is not what they deserve, and that's not what you deserve to give to them. So accept the fact that you have 24 hours and make the most of that 24 hours without multitasking. I'm getting better at non-multitasking. One of my director friends always pointed out that I always thought I could multitask, and I was not doing anything well. I was spread way thin and not deep, and my roots need to be deep so that I can lead well. Okay, so step 3, as we look at the changes and trade-offs, you're going to ask yourself the following questions. What can I delete? What can I delete? And if you're somebody who thinks I can do it all, because I am Wonder Woman, if you guys know my unit, we are Women of Wonder. Wonder Woman is kind of our mascot. The hardest thing for us to do is to say no or to step back and do less. What I've found, though, is when I say no, I'm empowered because I can say yes to the things that need to be said, that I need to say yes to. And when I say no to something, that empowers someone else to say yes to that thing. One of my examples is in my office. I struggled for years to hire an assistant to do my paperwork. I hated paperwork, and I had stacks of customer profile cards not entered into InTouch for like a long time. And I finally was like, you know what? I just have to let it go. I can't keep saying I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I hired somebody to do it. Now, this girl I hired, it is her, I don't even know if you call it a love language, but it's definitely her gift to be able to do that. And she gets so much joy out of doing that. So me saying no helped her say yes. You're going to find the most common key to success from successful people across any profession is their ability to know when and how to say no. Sometimes you're going to find that when you start to say no to a couple of things, even temporarily, you'll be able to take that thing off of your routine list forever because it really didn't matter. If there's certain things that you can't delete, the next question I want you to ask is, what can you delay? Does it have to be done right now? I know a lot of times in the summertime, people try to say, well, I'm going to clean out closets and I'm going to go through my kids' closets and get rid of old clothes. Okay, does that have to happen in June? Like, for real, does that have to happen in June? No. It can happen this summer, but it doesn't have to happen right now. That's not a good use of your time at this point in the year. So then the third question is, what can you decrease? What can you simplify? Do you need to set up a 30-minute conference call with somebody when you can really hash that out in 20 minutes? Like, look at where you're spending your time. Do you need to go to a 2-hour lunch with a friend when you could probably touch base with that friend in 20 minutes over coffee? That's a much better use of that time than to spend 2 hours with her. Okay, so try scheduling your meetings for a little bit less time. So last question for that is then, what can you delegate? Who can help you accomplish what needs to be done? Just talked with a guy at the gym today. One of the best things you can instill in kids is a work ethic. And one of the best ways to do that is by having them help you, whether it's physically in your office putting labels on products or whether it's doing chores so that you can make phone calls. Have them put the dishes away. Have them do their own laundry. Teach them things like that. What can you delegate to them, encouraging them to develop their own work ethic? And by them doing that, you can say yes to your goal. Okay? All right, step 4. Define and defend your time boundaries. Define and defend your time boundaries. So once you've determined how best to use your time, don't give anybody access to that. Don't give them free access. So if somebody calls you, girlfriend calls you and says, hey, do you have a minute? How many times are you on the phone with her for 20 minutes? You just gave her free access to your time. How many times have you gone to a meeting and you've arrived on time, but you wait for other people to start that meeting? That's not best use of your time. If I'm in a meeting, especially if I'm in charge of a meeting, I am starting that meeting on time, whether you are there or not. And if you're not, then that's your job to get caught up through somebody else. You can ask them what happened before you came, because I need to respect my time and the other people who came to that meeting. So protect your time by insisting that others are prepared for you, okay? When you aren't doing that, you guys, you're sabotaging your time boundaries because you're spending too much time like rethinking, worrying, things like that. All right, think of worrying like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but you're not getting anywhere. You're there and you're still rocking, but you're not getting anywhere. So we want to channel that energy into action. All right, so kind of on that same line, when people are not pursuing what they desire, lack of time usually is a big excuse. I don't have time to do this. Where am I going to find to do this? Something like this. I've changed my phrasing. Instead of saying I don't have time to, I say I choose not to spend the time doing that, because then that empowers me. That reminds me that, yeah, I am in charge of my time and it is my choice. The first summer that I had resigned from teaching to do Mary Kay full-time, I began to get phone calls and text messages almost every single day from my brother to babysit his daughter. I love my niece, but my husband very firmly reminded me that I did not quit teaching to be a babysitter. I quit teaching to be a leader and to be a director, and that's where I needed to focus my time. Plus, by having her every day, it was kind of taking the fun out of being the aunt who could spoil her, because I couldn't spoil her every single day. So I'm almost done. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So again, good use of our time, right? All right. So here's one thing to keep you focused for the next month in your business. So we're going to design our time with the questions and the guidelines that we just established. And now we're going to stay focused to approach our goals. So here we go. We're going to do FOCUS down the side of your page. And I'm going to give you, a little acronym right there. Focus. So F stands for focus. You guys stay attached to that 6 most important things list. Where is it? Mine's right here. It sits beside my desk all the time. And guess what is right under it? My weekly plan sheet right there. Filled out every single week for the last 7 years. That I've done it. So that's daily simple habit creates the discipline. Learn to love to be disciplined. Okay. O stands for optimism. You've heard that before. What you think about comes about. What you think about, you bring about. Really, optimism is the ability to see possibilities within problems and opportunities within obstacles. Oh gosh, it's been several months ago. I did this one. It was a phone call, and we talked about being a professional problem solver. I've decided all women are born with a degree. At the end of their name, they get to sign PPS after your name because you're a professional problem solver. Life hits us with an obstacle, and instead of letting it stop us, we get to say, okay, how am I going to get through it and on to the next thing? Because if it stops us, that's when on June 30th, we say, oh, I wish I would have. I wish I would have. Instead of saying, I am so glad I did, from that stage when you were introduced as a brand new sales director, right? Doesn't mean that you're pretending everything is perfect, but it's making the most out of what you've been given and the best out of what you have. All right. Okay. So here's the thing, you guys, I totally got the word wrong. Instead of focus, it's force. Sorry about that. So the R is resilience. This is not about how many times you trip, about how many times you slip, or about how many times you fall. It is about your resiliency and how many times you get back up again. Life is full of chances. We just have to get up and take them again and again and again. And we can develop resiliency through confidence. The C is confidence. So force, F-O-R-C-E. C is confidence. When you believe in you, other people are going to do the same thing. And confidence is the sexiest accessory you can ever have. I'm so glad my husband isn't here to hear me say that, because he actually rewrote my positive affirmations, and he will come up to me and make me say them. And he says, I'm confident, and he makes me say it. But it is one of the best things you have. And for me, one of the ways that I can find that is by getting out of my comfort zone. Finding things that make me want to throw up and doing them. Okay, E, the last one is energy. Energy, because we are all a CEO, we are a chief energy officer. So we have the power to determine our energy and our enthusiasm, what we want to bring into our lives and what we want to put into the lives of others. So here's what I'm going to challenge you guys today. We've got force, and we know what our goals are, and we know that we're taking intentional time to map them out and to act on them. So today or tomorrow, because you're finishing month end, I get it, I want to challenge you to take a few minutes to design your month. What's it going to look like, and put it into practice. This is not the time to say, I need to spend 5 days finding the perfect booking script. Not the time. This is time to say, you know what, that one worked for me before, and I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to do it again. Or if that didn't work, find your director, call your director, and get one from her. Get on roymattis.com and find one. Don't spend more than 2 minutes finding it. Put it into action. This is go time. And instead of a book 8 or instead of a book 10, because we're preparing for June, I want to challenge you to book 20. This is go time. Book 20 appointments. And for career chats, it's not a time to book 10, you guys. It's a time to book 20 career chats. Have your tracking sheet for your 20 appointments and your 20 career chats. This is time to get your big girl panties on and be crystal clear on your goal. Are you ready to share with every single person at your appointment? That's your job. I mean, like when I was in DIQ, I began to share at my appointments that part of my job is to share this opportunity with every single person. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. I'm a no pressure kind of person. But I never want you to come back to me and say, oh, Debbie, I wish you would have. I'd rather you just say, you know what, I'm glad you shared that with me. And if it's ever for me, I'll let you know. But it's my job as the hostess, kind of like the hostess of a restaurant, to lay all the specials out there for you. So it's time to get busy and do that. Now, you guys all know how to book appointments. That's why you're on this call. Do you know exactly how to share at your appointments? I'm going to take about the next 2 minutes to share with you some of my favorite ways to bring this up real quick. Some of my favorite ways to share at a party. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. I share a little bit, throughout, just like Roya's script goes through about Mary Kay, about the company, my I story. And I get to the end, and after I talk about the sets, I'll say, you know what? At this point in the game, I get a lot of questions. Like, Debbie, this sounds like a lot of fun, and I want all of this stuff, but I kind of want it like you. I want to be able to get it, at a discount, but I also want to be able to earn diamond rings and free cars. Tell me about that, or I have some concerns about that. So I always like to tell people, I've got 5 common concerns, and I'm going to go ahead and shoot them out there to you right now, and that way I can answer some questions even before you're asking them, and then at the end, if you guys have more questions, we'll expand. So the first thing I get asked is, how do we make our money in this business? Well, we make our money 2 ways. By selling product, getting it on people's faces, just like I've done here today, by also building our team and teaching other people to do the exact same thing. So there's 2 ways that we make our money in Mary Kay. Second thing people ask me is, tell me about the pink Cadillac. Tell me about those cars. Well, one thing a lot of people don't realize is that there are several different levels of car in Mary Kay. I briefly go through that, but I also say, you know what? If you love the car that you're driving and you don't want a free car, I don't know whoever says I don't want a free car, but if you're one of those people that doesn't want a free car, then you can take the cash compensation. And I briefly touch on that. And I'm talking fast the whole time because that generates the excitement, okay? Common concern number 3 I get is, I don't know anything about makeup. Are you kidding me? You want me to go around selling lipstick like a Girl Scout? No way. And I'll say, you know what, I'm totally in that same boat, because when I started this business, it was before you could look anything up on YouTube, and I really don't follow a lot of people on YouTube anyways, because there are some bad YouTube makeup videos out there. But I didn't even have that opportunity. All I had to do was say, you know what, I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to wash my face every day, twice a day. And that's all I needed to know. That's it. And by this time, they are nodding along with me. The common concern number 4 is people are so crazy busy. How in the world am I going to create, how am I going to fit all this in? Well, the cool thing about this is Mary Kay is so customizable that I can help you fit it in wherever you go. I love leading a busy life, but even more than that, I love leading a productive life. My husband and I often remind each other that we choose this life. We choose to have a full plate of activities, but we also choose to be productive in that full plate. So I am constantly taking product with me wherever I go and delivering it to the people that I see every day. I deliver a lot to the gym. My husband delivers to his school where he works, because that's where I used to work. And so he makes deliveries for me. We do a lot of deliveries at church, just different things. I end up taking it everywhere I go. And I can teach you to do the same thing. Make the most of your time wherever you're at. And then the other common concern I get is, you know what, there's like a bazillion direct sales companies out there. Why in the world would I want to be part of Mary Kay? Why this one? Why shouldn't I do something else? Well, here's the thing. In the next few years, it's expected that 9 million more people are going to join direct sales. Totally get it. We are, though, the #1 direct sales company out there. Yeah, we have a really cool product. I mean, like, look at us. We've been around for 50 plus years. We have a really good product. We're not going anywhere. But aside from the product, 100% of why you should join Mary Kay is the culture and the people that we have in this business. We have a saying in Mary Kay, and you may have heard it before, that says you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I look around at who I get to choose to spend time with, and I get to hang out with abundant thinking women. I get to give the gift of confidence and self-esteem to other women that I get to hang out with, but also to my kids, because I've learned that through the people that I hang out with. I get to have more because of these abundant women. I have more fun, I have more friends, and I have more funds in the bank because of the culture that I have surrounded myself in this business. So here's the thing. I think it's the culture, and you're not going to know unless you give it a try. But if you try Mary Kay for 1 year, if you join our company for 1 year and you are all in for 1 year and you're 100% teachable, coachable, and trainable for 1 year, I guarantee at the end of that year, you'll say, I'm glad I did, instead of, I wish I would have. And by the end of that, you can see people who are burnout, who are tired, who are just beaten down in general, like, you know, they're leaning in and they're excited and they're nodding and I want a piece of that. And that's where I was 12 years ago when I came in. I was exhausted. I loved my job, but I was exhausted and getting burnout on it. And I didn't see how much it was taking out of me instead of leaving me to give to my family when I came home at the end of the day. So for me, it's the culture. So that's just a little bit of how I share, and how you can now share, because you're equipped to share with at least 20 career shares in June to finish your directorship. You guys, I want to see you on stage. I want to see you on stage debuting. I want to be that person in the audience who has tears running down her face because she is cheering for you so loudly. I will never forget. I've got 3 minutes. I will never forget when I debuted on stage. It was my first time at seminar, because I had been in Mary Kay for, 7 years. And I honestly was too lazy to go to seminar before I was a director. I didn't get it. I was too lazy. I went, my husband went with me, and that was it from my unit and from my director's unit. She had a death in the family the morning we were supposed to leave for seminar, so her husband couldn't go. But anyways, this is the moment, you guys. Just think about this. You are going to be standing on stage in front of 10,000 people. You're going to be one of the first people in line to be debuting on stage. That way you get to stand on stage for the longest time while they announced all of your sister sales directors. And in that arena of 10,000 people with the spotlight shining on you, if you choose to bring your spouse, I promise you, in a room of 10,000 people with spotlights on you and darkness in the audience, you will find your husband beaming with pride, with tears in his eyes, with smile glowing, taking tons of pictures like paparazzi, because he will say, I'm glad you did, instead of, I wish you would have. That's going to be your defining moment, and I can't wait to celebrate it with you and to have just a little part of your day. So I'm going to open it up for questions if anybody has anything. I think everybody's muted, so if anybody has a question, you can go ahead and unmute yourself or put it in the chat.
Do you share all that at the end?
Yes, I do. Because if I share it, I feel like if I share it at the beginning or in the middle, I've kind of lost them already. Like I can make the biggest impact. They're going to remember the last thing that I do the most. And so that's what I want to end with.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Is that it?
Debbie, I just wanted to say that was so awesome. I was taking notes. You need to post the playback because your sharing is so great.
Thank you.
And I think this is just what everyone needed to hear today. So I'm so grateful for everything you shared.
Thanks. My goal was to be helpful, you know, that you guys can take something away and say, I'm glad I listened to that call instead of I wish I would have done the dishes instead. All right, you guys, it's 1 o'clock. We're going to end on time. So here's your challenge. In the next 24 hours, your challenge is to map it out, design your June, get not a book 8, not a book 10, but a book 20 for 20 parties and 20 career shares. Got it? I can't wait to hear your results from this whole thing. So you guys have an awesome day.